Welcome, everybody, to episode number 30. Wow, we made it, Jim. Number 30 of the Still City Insider podcast. I'm one of your hosts here, Jeremy Hritz, alongside the Jim Wexell. Jim, how are you doing on this beautiful Saturday?
I'm good, Jeremy. It is beautiful. I love the cool weather. We only have a few days left of May. I love it.
Yes, and we are in full OTA season, and we're going to talk about that here today. Jim's going to dig in from what he's seen in OTAs. We'll also talk a bit about the new general manager and assistant general manager who will be taking over for Kevin Colbert. And then we'll close out the show by talking briefly about some of the undrafted rookie free agents. So, Jim, it's been a while since we got together. Anything new going on in your world?
Nobody wants to hear about my world other than what I do at work. So, football is back on, and you got to love that. I mean, it's funny. Mike Tomlin came up first day of rookie minicamp. He comes over. He goes, "So you're going to call this work?" I said, "Are you? You're walking around talking to reporters while your assistants are working." And he laughed, and we both agreed that this is the most beautiful time of the year. You go to work and you pretend it's work, and you're watching football in the spring, and you don't have to predict a winner for Sunday. You don't have to rip a coach on Monday. You just watch football from the sidelines in the spring and get a suntan.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like a great time, and we're going to start there talking about OTAs, and we'll kind of start with a general 30,000 foot view, and then we'll drill down into specific players, Jim. But with Ben not being in camp, not camp, but OTAs mini camp after 18 years, is there a different feel at the organized team activities this year, or is it business as usual?
Not really. It seems like a different feel because there seem to be doing less scrimmaging and more teaching in individual position drills. You see Trubisky emerging as a leader. He definitely has the gravitas, nothing like Ben had. And, Ben emerged as a leader and worked it and was clearly a leader in these kind of mini camp and OTA situations with new players. And you see some of that from Trubisky, although he can't be what Ben was. You see that he's a leader and that people are following him.
Mm-hmm. And kind of sticking there for a minute, let's start with the quarterbacks. I know both Trubisky and Rudolph spoke with the media. They're saying all the right things. They're being very diplomatic, that they're going to work with Pickett. What's the feel of that quarterback room? Is there any camaraderie that you're seeing from the four? And what's just your initial take early on here in OTAs?
Yeah, I mean, I see Rudolph talking to the starting quarterback this year. That's new. And I see, Trubisky's emerging. Rudolph, I thought he would be more decisive, and he's not. It's the same. He's going to have to pick that up. But Trubisky surprised me with his decisiveness early. Really, there's not much scrimmaging going on, and there's not much long passing going on. I see these comments about the rookie wide receivers and all that stuff, and there's just not much to see, to tell the truth. They're still getting a feel for each other, and there's a lot of new position coaches. A lot of drills being run in position groups. Yeah.
What about in terms of, so I know you said that you're not seeing a lot of deep passes from these four guys, but of the four, are you able to differentiate between who has the most zip on the ball out of Trubisky, Pickett, Rudolph, and Oladokun?
I would go in depth chart order. I would say Trubisky, Rudolph, Pickett, and Oladokun. A ball slipped. I don't know if it slipped, but Pickett missed an out 5-10 yards. Someone turned and looked at me like, and it's not like he's been throwing bad passes, but it was raining. It was drizzling. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I can report that his hands might be too small, in the rain. I mean, I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying what I saw.
Uh-huh.
It was
Yeah.
one of the few times there was rain.
Mhm.
It kind of looked like it slipped and sailed.
Mhm.
I'm the only guy that seems to be persistent with this. I've let it go only because my hands measure 8.5 exactly. And I can't grip the damn ball. I can't. So, Tomlin came over. He made a joke during rookie minicamp. He's Kenny's hands looking pretty big today. He's joking. I said, my hand measures the same and I can't grip those balls. And he just walked away like, bah. He wants the usual reporters to joke around with him like that question was totally absurd and why was it an issue?
Mhm.
When to me, I think it's kind of an issue, but I'm the only one. So call me crazy, but
You're on an island with the hand size.
that's because my hand's the exact same size and I know what the poor kid's dealing with.
So wait, you measured your hands?
I did. Because when they went out, they were saying all these shows where you take it from the thumb to the pinky. All right, get the tape measure. Wow, 8.5. Okay, well that explains why I hate when those balls bounce over to me and I have to throw them in and I just spin them underhand. I don't want to show off my rag arm, and a ball might slip out of my hand.
Maybe we could do like a contest with our viewers, whoever's got the biggest hand size, and they take a picture of it. We'll give them like a jersey or something.
I really didn't want to get into this too much, but I'm just saying what I saw one time. And you can all kill me, and it's I don't know. It might be a big deal. It might not. I hope nobody makes a big deal out of it. There's one pass that slipped in the rain.
Yeah.
But that's a kid that can't have passes slip, or everybody's going to say, hey.
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah. So you mentioned, just a different feel in terms of different positional coaches, and wanted to spend some time talking about the offensive line. Last year around this time, big bad Adrian Clem, we're going to be physical. We're going to punch people in the mouth, rah, rah, rah. And then we saw the product on the field, and it was abhorrent last year.
They were punching in the mouth. I liked all that.
It sounds good.
Kendrick Green just had no clue what he was doing.
Right. So this year with, I read a little bit, listened to some of the players speaking about James Daniels, talking about him already assuming the leadership role, which is ironic being that he's only 24. But looking at the O linemen, I know you can't really glean much because it's football and shorts, but in terms of size of these players, do you see any noticeable difference in size of Green or Dan Moore or Okorafor? And what about just understanding of the offense? Is there anything that you were able to pick up from OTAs from this offensive line and their new coach?
Well, let me just say right now, the only person who really stands out for improved size is Najee. His thighs. I mean, he's quadzilla. Everybody's talking about it. I didn't write about it yet because he hasn't been in a locker room to talk about it. I wrote about Freiermuth being bigger, stronger, faster, and he is. I mean, Najee's just, oh my God, how did this happen? So everybody's talking about it. I presume everyone's writing about it. But I mean, for me to tell whether Kendrick Green looks the same,
It's the same.
Dan Moore, I haven't really sized him up. These guys aren't in pads. James Daniels, we talked about after his Zoom conference interview that he seemed like a leader, and he's speaking like a leader. And that's good to hear. And Mason Cole, all I can tell you about is their interviews, because watching what offensive linemen do on the first week of OTAs is pretty worthless. I think it's more important what the depth chart looks like. And here's an example. Kendrick Green works in with Kevin Dotson at getting some first reps. Now, I had compared Green's situation to that of Mason Rudolph, in that they will both be that while they're both second team, they'll both get their chance. But Green is getting first team reps. Rudolph on the second day of OTAs gave way to Pickett as the number 2. Wow. So he's rotating the other way.
Okay.
So
I wanted to ask you about that too, because I did see that this is going to be an open competition at left guard between Kevin Dotson and Kendrick Green. I know last year around this time, we talked about a report that came out that the organization was unhappy with Dotson, that he was out of shape coming into camp, or he wasn't in his playbook enough. Is this a legitimate competition that Green's going to be able to actually compete at left guard, or is this just they're trying to get reps to see what he can contribute?
Well, I'm not sure what that report has to do with anything. It kind of besmirches Dotson's reputation, which was cleared up by his line coach. He's got a great work ethic. He was injured last year. Kendrick Green is a long shot to win that job because as a backup guard center, he provides that versatility as a reserve. And Dotson's much bigger. But we'll see who wins. That stuff will be determined when the pads come on in preseason games.
Right. Going back to Najee Harris there, I saw where Zach Gentry called him an action figure, that he just looks more explosive and bigger. And I did see some photos of Harris, and he is looking pretty thick.
I just wonder if he got new tighter, smaller shorts. I don't know. I mean, how could these suddenly we all see? I mean, this kid's been a hard worker his whole life.
Yeah.
And the calves. I mean, so action figure. Hey, Gentry should speak for himself. That dude has really made himself into a mountain of a man. I'm looking for a Matt Spaeth like develop. Matt Spaeth. Sorry to change gears on you. We'll get back to Najee, but Matt Spaeth was not the blocker that he became for a few 2-3 years. Mm-hmm. And then he became a great blocker. So I'm thinking Gentry could follow in those footsteps and be a very important piece as a second tight end.
Yeah.
And as for Najee, he's exciting. And you know how I have told you in the past that he needs to, if I were advising him, if I were his guy, I'd say, don't do so many interviews. Don't be doing all that cutesy stuff with reporters. And he's not around for interviews. Now I'm mad at myself because I need to talk to him.
Well, there's another round of OTAs coming up this week, right before the mandatory mini camp.
Yeah, and that's, I don't know whose mistake or if it was a mistake, but there should be 3 weeks of OTAs, and they got limited. Apparently, they got off to a slow start. And they're going to pass the deadline, so they had to cut out a week of OTAs.
Oh, that's killer. I mean, in terms of installation of,
I'd like to get to know more about that, but that's all I know.
Yeah. So I want to go back. You were talking there about Gentry and Freiermuth. I want to reference something that you said. This was our first episode that we recorded last July, but you talked about Pat Freiermuth and just how you said that he's going to be a guy that later on in the season, people are going to say, where did he come from? But you also referenced too, that in year 2, that he would be a much better player than he was year 1, just because of the addition of size and getting bigger and being able to contribute more in the blocking game. I read where he said that he is heavier, but he's lighter. I don't know if you could speak to what you've seen from Freiermuth so far. Does he look physically noticeably bigger? And I guess, how are you projecting his improvement from last year to this year?
Yeah. Hey, I take responsibility for those quotes because I went up to him in the locker room. I saw him running through people faster, bigger, stronger, faster. And he's running through, I mean, this is touch tackle in shorts. Mm-hmm. So I went up to talk to him, and sometimes these TV stations will send a cameraman out without a reporter, and they'll say, just glom on to listen to other people's questions. So when we have a one-on-one, the etiquette is not to interrupt the one-on-one, because once it's 2-on-1, the whole mob comes. So I went up to Freiermuth and went to ask him that, and this cameraman just came up. We had no reporter. He wanted to use me as the reporter. And then the mob came. And so a few of my questions got broadcast to everybody, and I've yet to use them. So, the reunion in the locker room must be revisited. The etiquette rules must be revisited. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I got that off my chest. Thank you, Jeremy.
You're welcome. I just set you up for that.
I mean, but he's bigger, faster, stronger. I don't know what, I mean, he's a good quote, and he has a way of putting things, and that's cool. And I I like the fact he's going to become a go-to veteran type guy who's not afraid to give a smart, snappy, funny answer.
Yeah.
Some of these guys, they don't want to step out of line. He's not. He knows he's not going to step out of line. He's a necessary component. He's going to be himself, and he's going to be a good locker room guy. I just feel it.
Yeah. So looking at that third tight end spot, I know Kevin Rader was that guy last year, but with the addition of Connor Hayward, I see that he's wearing, I forget what number. It's a tight end number. Do you think he has a chance to be that?
I know what number? He's Miller's number, 83.
Oh, he's got Miller's number. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Do you see him? I mean, I know he's going to be used variations. He's going to be a high utility guy. It's not going to be one thing, but do you think they'll keep him on as the number 3 tight end? They'll push Rader to the practice squad and then utilize him in the backfield. Does Hayward have a legitimate shot?
Well, it's going to be a numbers thing, and that's going to take a while, and there's always injuries.
Mm-hmm.
When they give a number like 83, a revered number like 83 out, it's either the guys, they know they're going to cut him soon, or they really like him. And I think in this case, they really like Connor. Now he's got to go about proving it. And all I can tell you is he might have the sweetest hands on the team. I mean, you don't hear a whisper when that ball hits his hands.
Wow.
And he can run. And he's small, man. And his inline blocking will be in question, but it's always something that tight ends can improve. And so, it'll be a numbers thing.
Mm-hmm.
What position can they take from if they say they cut Anthony McFarland as the number 3 tailback? They know Connor can be an emergency tailback.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's the only time they've had, I could be wrong about this, but I believe in my memory banks, the only brief stretch of time that they had 2 quarterbacks on the roster was when they counted Antoine Randall as the emergency third guy. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the similar situation that Connor Hayward can be in, because he can run the ball. He's a good runner. You got fullback, he can be an emergency tailback, in my opinion, and tight end, H-back, those kinds of things. So he's a nice pickup, and boy, we're a long way from really gauging who's going to make it as a tight end. Jay Sternberger, I had confused him originally with Freiermuth. I thought 85 was Freiermuth till I saw 88. Who's this 88? Boy, he looks big and strong. And that was Freiermuth. 85 was Jay Sternberger, a former high draft pick who busted out. I forget what round he was taken in, but he's got some speed and some pass catching ability, and maybe he's a reclamation project. He's a receiving tight end. He's got those kind of skills. So he's another guy that's interesting to a degree.
Yeah. So, and I did read your piece. I wanted to talk a little bit about that here. But one more player before I get in that. How about Alex Highsmith? I know you can't really glean much.
I have no clue. I have not looked at Alex Highsmith in the least. I mean, I look at reps. I only got one chance, so I'm not going to look at Alex Highsmith. I don't even know if he's bigger, stronger, faster. I don't know. I just know he's got to start doing something. So,
year 3, I mean, he better do something this year. I mean,
it's time. It's time. He's been given enough chance. Yeah. And he seems like a good player, but let's start putting up some sacks.
Yep.
The pass rushers, Tyree Johnson had some big buzz at rookie minicamp from important people.
Yeah.
And he has been injured a bit. He's been standing on the sideline. And so it's his 3rd day he dressed, and I did not see anything.
Please tell me it's not a hamstring.
I have no idea what it is. I wanted to talk to him to get a summer preview, and I look, this is a new locker room, and things are moved around, and there's also plexiglass separating each locker as a COVID thing. So it's a different locker room, and I look up, and there was a player bent over tying his shoe, and I looked up, and it was 45 Johnson, and I said, Tyree. And he didn't look up. I go, Tyree. And he didn't look up. And I'm like, man, this kid's either can't hear, he has problems with his hearing. Maybe that's why he was undrafted. Or maybe he just doesn't want to do another interview. And finally, Johnson looks up. I go, Tyree, you got him in? He goes, I'm not Tyree, I'm Buddy. Right linebacker,
Oh,
close to the same number, 45.
Yeah.
Right college, wrong Johnson.
mm.
And so I did not get to speak with Tyree to ask him what his injury was, and it doesn't matter in the spring anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, so I started talking about why are the Steelers signing all these Texas A&M kids?
Yeah.
It's Aggie takeover, man.
Yeah, it's a lot. That's for sure. So the last player I wanted to talk about, and this is going to reference your.
Let me throw something in about Buddy Johnson. He looks bigger, stronger, and he's second team. He's moved ahead of that outrageous third team gang combo of Marcus Allen and Ulysses Gilbert.
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
At least they're looking at him that way. I mean,
Right.
This is spring where the coaches want him to be second string. Doesn't mean he's going to end up being second string.
So for Johnson, is he more of a buck or a Mac? Because I thought he was a buck coming out, but I forget where I read that they look at him more as a Mac inside backer.
Well, Robinson's a buck. Devins is a buck. So if he's running second team with who's the other second team linebacker? Man, you're really guzzling the coffee. It's 9 o'clock. It's not 5 o'clock.
I drink until about like 10. That's why I have high blood pressure.
I wish I could think of a second team linebacker. Do you? Come on, help me out here.
So you got Devin and Miles running number one. Then it would be Buddy Spillane.
Spillane. Yeah.
He's got to be.
I don't know what Buddy's playing, the buck or the Mac. But I was surprised when Miles Jack told me he was playing the Mac, because that means Devin's the buck, and you usually want your more sturdy run stopping guy as the buck. So
yeah, that's interesting. All right, so I want to reference the most recent piece you wrote about for the OTAs and the Texan. I want to talk about the Texan here, Gunnar.
Love that kid, man.
Gunnar Olszewski. Can you talk a little bit about Gunnar?
Gunnar Olszewski. Well, I mean, you read the piece. What questions do you have? I pretty much poured it all out there. I don't know where to start.
Right. So I guess it's looking at this wide receiver
and
room.
Please don't bring up Brian Switzer. I already blasted someone for bringing up another white guy to compare to him.
I don't see a comparison. Switzer was slow. I guess and looking at the wide receiver room, it sounds like from reading your article that he's going to be more than just a special team player. He's got potential that he can actually contribute.
Oh, well, that's what everyone wants. It doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Right.
He's 9 catches in 3 years, and the Patriots. That's one thing I didn't get to ask him, why the Patriots gave up on him. Now, the Patriots didn't tender him at the $2.4 million. And sometimes the Steelers do that, and they get the guy back for cheaper than $2.4 million. The Steelers got him at what, $4.2 million for 2 years? So they got him at $2.1 million. Did the Patriots try to get him back at $2 million per? The Steelers paid less than the tender for a restricted free agent. So I'm just wondering if the Patriots' intentions were to negotiate and bring him back, or did they just have enough of him? Because he's a great punt returner. And that's a loss. Did the Patriots say, for the Patriots to give up on him means they've totally given up on his chances to become a slot receiver, which in the spring against Air in shorts, he looks like a great one to me. He looks cocky. He looks like a veteran who is confident and knows what he's doing and has the gravitas. I really was surprised to see he only had 9 catches with the Patriots. So if he can make it as a slot receiver, great, because Austin's a rookie, and slot receivers are like tight ends in that they are security blankets for quarterbacks. So there has to be some shared knowledge and wisdom, which you don't usually get from a rookie. And this Olszewski is fearless, man. I mean, I like his whole demeanor, and that's why I wrote about his demeanor and how unique he is as a personality. Dirty South Texan, who wants to ride bulls when he's done with this. Who's the catcher that, wanted to be, as a ninth grade catcher, wanted to catch the 100-mile-an-hour fastballs of the varsity guy who came back, the pro guy. He's just that kind of athlete, and he's promoted as special by all of his former coaches. And he looks special to me in shorts against air and against cornerbacks who wear number 40, who I have never even heard of. Lyndon Stevens, I looked him up. I didn't know they had a Lyndon Stevens. Did you?
Yeah, I think he was like a futures guy or something like that.
All right. Well,
yeah,
he got schooled.
Yeah.
And so what does that mean? I don't know, but he sure doesn't look like Ryan Switzer to me.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, well, Jim, real fast, just closing up here. I just want to hit on a couple of these undrafted rookie free agents. Again, I know it's football on shorts. There's not much you can glean from this. But two guys who had tryouts, or there were three guys who had tryouts in the rookie minicamp. Karlos Platel, cornerback, who made it.
He's getting a lot of time. I'll tell you that. He's getting more time than the kid from USC, Steele. And sometimes that doesn't mean anything, but it makes you wonder why, because there are limited reps.
Yeah.
What would you say his name is? Patel?
Yeah, Karlos Platel.
He was getting a lot of reps, second team and stuff like that.
Yeah, he played Division II Assumption College before he transferred to South Carolina. So, and he's a slower guy, like a 4.6, let's say like a 4.64, so below average speed for a corner, but I think they were saying like more of a slot guy.
Right. Right. That's what he's working. So for me to gauge his future skills is, not something I'm going to try to do.
Right.
But I can say that the coaches seem to have an interest in him.
Okay. Now, how about
the other
guy? Tyler Snead, the 5'7", 170 pound.
He's small. He's not impressing me.
Okay. Because everything I've read about him, he was a fan favorite there at East Carolina. Big heart.
I'm sure he has a big heart. He's, those small catch radius guys like Dree Archer, and that's what I worry about Austin.
Yeah. Short
arms, small frames.
Then the last one was Nick Saiba. I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. Kicker out of Wake Forest. And I thought a little bit more about this one. Now he's the second most accurate kicker in college football history. Is this a guy that they will try to stash on the practice squad in the event that there's ever an injury to Boswell? Or is this a player that maybe they're grooming for, let's say, like Sean Sweezum has an injury that, ends his career, then they have their guy?
Yeah, well, you got to wait to see if he can kick first. But the first thing that's got to happen for young number 4, he's got to get on the roster. He's the only guy not on the roster yet. Because I keep saying, they got 4 on the roster yet? So I don't know if that says anything about his chances. Dude's got to get on the roster. And, he's got to show off in preseason before they begin any stash games. Otherwise, he's just a camp leg.
Yeah.
Just to rest the starter. Yeah.
Yeah. See, where else are you going to hear about Karlos Platel, Tyler Snead, and Nick Saiba? Nowhere.
Well, some of those guys I hope we never hear of again.
I love the undrafted rookie free agents, man. I'd love the underdog story.
I can tell almost as much as you love coffee.
I do. See, I'm all jacked up now. So I'm gonna go watch some kicker film. So, well, everybody, we appreciate you joining us here today for episode number 30. Jim and I have actually talked about training camp this summer. I'm going to try to get out there. Maybe he could sneak me in so I could see some practices, but maybe try to do a live podcast from St. Vincent's. But we'll be back probably in 2 more weeks after mini camp. Maybe we'll try to get together, Jim.
Okay. Well, we didn't talk about the new GM.
Yeah, completely.
Well, I just finished. That's why I'm late with you. I just finished a column on it, and it's free. And if you want to get my thoughts on what seems to be a very uninspiring day of front office movement and shuffling, you can read my column. It may uninspire you as well.
Oh, it makes me very inspired to read it.
I'm sorry that it's such a bland introduction, but that's a bland hire. And the thing was, I wanted Omar. just because I was being contrarian and everybody was down on him. And now I'm looking through the transcript. I'm like, and you look, who's at the top of the hierarchy? Last year was Rooney, Colbert, Kahn, Tomlin. This year, Rooney, Colbert, Kahn, Tomlin. There's been no change.
Mhm.
They've hired the guy who built the Lions. They brought him in to replace Brandon Hunt. They promoted someone's son, and they brought in this Andy Weidel, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. That seems to be the one potential inspiring note there. Otherwise, wow.
Yeah.
Not much change. This is supposed to be the big year of change. You know.
I suck at pronunciations. I was saying Weidel. So it's Weedle.
So then I'll go with Weedle.
Yeah, I'm terrible. Remember Ola Duncan? I couldn't get that one correct. All right.
Well, you've inspired me to go get some coffee, brother.
Yeah. Hey, it's a Saturday. You got to start it off right. So,
well Saturday, yeah, I like to ease my way into Saturdays because Saturday night, that's like the only night I go out. So,
okay.
So I'm all excited to stay out till 10 o'clock tonight.
Yeah. See, I got 3 kids. There's no staying out. It's in bed at 8:30. So I'm pretty lame. So, all right. Jim.
Hey, I've done my chore. We all have to do our duty.
Yep.
Raise good kids, and you're doing your duty. And that means no Saturday nights, pal.
Pittsburgh dad.
That's what you are.
That's 100%.
I used to be. I'm just waiting around to be Pittsburgh granddad now. And in the meantime, I'm going to go out till 10 o'clock on Saturday nights.
Awesome. Well, I hope you have a good time.
Thanks, man.
All right. Well, we appreciate you guys listening. Please check out Jim on Twitter at Jim Wexell. You can check out his work, obviously, at the Still City Insider. You can check out my site, thestillstudy.com. Give me a follow at Still Study on Twitter, and we will see you back here for episode number 31 of the Still City Insider. Thanks, everyone.